What was the dumbest thing you ever did to try and impress a girl or guy? I was in New Zealand, was going to a beach party with some girls from the hostel I was staying at. To get to the party, you needed to take a $2 ferry across this inlet, which was about 1 kilometer wide. I decided to swim it, to impress the ladies. About halfway through I realize that I'm slowly being swept out to sea, and I'm losing strength. I'm not sure how, but eventually I made it to the other shore, about 100 meters away from the pier. The ferry had docked about 2 to 3 minutes before me, and I just nonchalantly walked over to meet the girls, as if I hadn't swum against a current to near exhaustion, and was swept out to sea. Good side, it worked and I ended up hooking up with one of the ladies. Bad side, the $2 was for a round trip, and I still had to pay $2 to get back once the party was over. I was about 12 years old and riding my bike home from high school when I saw a pack of pretty girls ahead of me, like 5 years older. This stretch of road meant I had to ride on the pavement, so I thought I'd be cool and overtake them by dropping down into the road and then jumping back up the curb once I passed them. Well, I almost died that day. My determination to impress the girls overtook the part of my brain that deals with logic, and I severely miscalculated the jump. I skidded against the curb and it bucked me out into the middle of the road into oncoming traffic. I scrambled to get back onto the pavement and my bike flew clean off the ground and I was propelled into a bush. Goal achieved. I overtook the girls, and they did come over to help and called me cute when I started crying, so I took it as a win. Haven't been on a bike since, though. Edit. Yikes. Well, at least someone gets a laugh out of this experience. Just to clarify, because a lot of people seem confused, I'm in England, where high school starts at 11. And I'm also a girl, to all of you referring to me as a heel mayo. That saved me some extra embarrassment, because if I were a guy they'd almost certainly have caught on that I was trying to impress them. When I was a teen I took taekwondo classes and there were 2 beautiful girls around my age. They liked to go and have a smoke behind them all before class, and I wanted to be cool and impress them, so I took up smoking too. It was about 2 weeks, and when one girl came to class early, so I went and had a smoke with her. Then the next girl came in and wanted to have a smoke, so I went and had another one with her. When we came back we started doing our warm-up laps, and I felt very queasy. I had to throw up, so ran outside, right next to the Dairy Queen. I threw up all over the glass wall where the cashiers and several people eating looked on in horror. This is my favorite one. Did you ever smoke again? I never smoked again. I bought a hedgehog off someone to give to her, but her parents said no. I ended up keeping him, and he was the sweetest boy. Lived for 7 years. Edit. I was very young and didn't have much of a thought process past, she's going to definitely like me after this. Here he is. On a 4th of July date, after going out to dinner, I took her out on the lake in a canoe to watch the fireworks. It was awesome. Young macho me, of course, turned down her offer of help with a large canoe, and I manhandled that thing like it was nothing. Put her in it while it was on the grass and continued manhandling it to show off just how strong I was. The next morning I had to call into work sick because my back muscles were so strained I couldn't get out of bed. My back was sore for over a week. In high school, a few hours after school was let out, I was talking to this guy I had a crush on when he mentioned he left his Spanish notebook in his locker and had a test the next day. Since it was a regional high school and he was far away and I was close, I offered to help him out. I walked a mile to the school, went to his locker, called him, got the combination, and read 10+ pages from the notebook to him while I sat on the hallway floor and he took notes. I lied and said I had experience in journalism because I didn't think we'd have anything except a brief encounter when I'd actually only taken one class in college. Our first date took me with to report on a local clash between police and citizens, and I got tear gassed and robbed. Tried to race a scooter down the steepest hill around, crashed into the back of a funeral hearse and shattered the back window. There was a body inside, and the family was outside waiting to either go to the cemetery or take the coffin inside. I got up, covered in blood and glass, grabbed my scooter, and hobbled away to the nearest alleyway. started smoking. Wanted to look cool and have an excuse to talk to her. It worked, but we only dated for a couple of months. Biggest mistake of my life. Edit. As this is my most upvoted comment, I would just like to say, since turning 28 on Saturday, I haven't touched a cigarette since. Wish me luck. I made sure I was the one to return her jacket when she forgot it at school. When I gave it back to her the next morning, she blamed me for stealing it. We didn't end up together. Wow, this blew up. Thanks for my first platinum. For the people that were wondering, I did not steal the jacket. In elementary school, when I walked by this girl I liked, I would pretend to chew gum and crack my knuckles cause I thought I'd look cool. Jesus. Not really dumb, but kinda funny to look back on now. I wasn't good at sports, but I was fairly quick, so I joined the track team to impress a girl. Turns out the girl wasn't impressed by runners, but I did end up going to state in the 100 meters dash and placing second. Edit. I also ended up getting a scholarship for track, so it was sort of a win, I guess. I just realized my entire school choice / career path has been a result of trying to impress a girl. Edit 2. For those asking, my best time in the 100 meters was 10.81. When I was 15, I dropped a heavy book on my head. It was this old dictionary, a single volume, that was easily 8 inches thick, and probably weighed 15 lbs. I laid down on the floor, held it over my head with my arms fully extended, and dropped it the foot and a half right onto my forehead. I guess either it would show how tough I was not tough. It sorta worked, because I dated her until freshman year of college. But that was likely in spite of my actions, and not because of them. I've posted this before, but still funny to me. Dating a gymnast in high school. We go to a park and I see parallel bars that are designed for stretching, but I'm convinced I can do a handstand on them because I'm awesome. She keeps insisting they are too far apart, but I don't listen. Attempt said handstand. They were indeed too far apart, so I collapsed down, jamming my chest past my hands and strain / tear all the ligaments holding my chest muscles to my breastbone. Good times were not had later, or for a long while after. My first serious girlfriend is home alone, and I think this might be the day I get off of second base. I'm all of 13, hormone addled, and obviously confident this girl is the love of my life. It's midsummer and I know I can bike the 3-ish miles pretty quickly. I tell my parents I'm going to see my friend right around the block. They warn me that a thunderstorm is rolling in, and I tell them it takes no time to get there. 10 minutes later I'm only halfway there, terrified, crying, pedaling as hard as I can to go downhill against the wind. My all metal framed BMX knockoff Huffy doing its best to not get hit with lightning and fuse me to its shiny silver exterior forever. 30+ minutes after that, I pull into her garage and thank God that all the rain has hid the fact I've been ugly sobbing the entire way. Her parents then pull in as I'm literally hunched over trying to catch my breath. I tell them this was the only house I knew on the street, and it would have been life-threatening to bike the rest of the way home in this storm. They smile, probably knowing it was a lie, and treated me to a nice dinner. It ends with a very awkward drive home with her father, my bike in the back of his truck. I was alone in a park in front of my house. I was standing by the monkey bus just fooling around. I was around 10 at the time. I see a group of around 5 girls cycling towards me, all about 16 years old. Thinking I can impress them, I jump on the monkey bar, still looking at them to show off. Turns out, completely missed the bars, fell from a 6 feet wooden playground flat on the face. Teeth trough my lip, crying and everything. They ran over, asked me where I lived and carried me home. They were really sweet about it, but it was pretty embarrassing for me. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Thanks for all your upvotes and funny comments. Also, I took more girls home when I was 10 as opposed to now 10 years later. Time to swing on the monkey bars in my gym. Embarrassing to admit, but the only time I truly tried to impress a girl was in primary school, when I was about 10 or 11. I would swear, when she was near and always gave the impression I didn't give a fuck. Backfired though, she just ended up thinking I had anger and behavioral issues. I actually got one. I was 14, totally fully in love with this girl from my class. Got her at, we kinda flirted for a whole year but got nowhere. She was the kind of girl who likes attention, So you can imagine how she kept me hooked up knowing I had no chance. Since it was getting close to Valentine's Day, I decided I was going to impress her and make her mine by learning how to play guitar and all her favorite songs. A whole week practicing like a madman and actually learned 2 songs I knew she loved. So fully prepared and convinced I'd hit jackpot. On the 14th I go to her house, call her out telling her I had a surprise. She pops her head out of the door, sees me and my guitar and notes the fuck out of there, telling me to leave. Hey, at least I now know how to play a guitar. I intentionally threw multiple games of to let a girl think she was amazing at the game.